Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another show of Fuente and Meerapfel present Meet the Professor. Hello, world.
Hello, everyone.
Hello. And today is a very, very special day and a particularly emotional day for me. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present to you our guest of honor. He has been a friend since before he's been conceived. I've seen this boy being a child grow up into a man. Everybody is very proud of who he's become and has a hell of a future, a very important role to take in the cigar industry. Ladies and gentlemen, please greet Mr. Carlos Fuente III. Carlos.
Hello, everyone. It's a great pleasure being here. I'm very excited to share some ideas, some stories with you all, and it's just truly an honor to be here alongside Jeremiah and Melanie as well. It's just a beautiful moment for me.
Well, Carlos, it's an honor for us. It's a pleasure, and I'm sure that there are countless people out there who are unbelievably interested and excited about hearing you, because if I'm not mistaken, this is one of the first time that you go live in front of the audience, in front of the world. This is coming out of the closet. This is a big moment in history. This is the moment when we are going to discover the beautiful heart, soul, and brains of Carlos Fuente III. And Mr. Professor, please start the questions.
First of all, we have somebody tuning in. I don't know why he's really tuning in. Some guy they call it Papo del Humo. ¿Qué pasa, Papo?
¿Qué pasa, Papo? I'm more nervous. I'm nervous than you are. Hey. Hi, everyone. Hi, son, Carlito, everybody. Big hug from Chateau de la Fuente, birthplace of
Carlos,
rolling in.
Carlos, like I told you, I've seen you at the show. I haven't had time to see you. I used to see you a lot, and your father knows that when you were a little kid, and you've grown up. I know a lot about you because your father and I talk a lot. And so we're happy to have you here today. I know your father's more nervous than you are, and your aunts, your cousins, everybody, but let's just start it. Let's try to make it very simple. And the question is not going to be tough, but how does it really feel to be the son of the most famous cigar maker in the world?
Okay, so let's see. So it's my father like work in the industry and do amazing things. So in that aspect, it's beautiful. But also I've seen the struggles, and I've seen how tough it is sometimes in the industry. And those are things I've seen ever since I was a child. I grew up in the industry, and it's just so many things and many beautiful things, but also many struggles. But most of all, it's many beautiful things. And it's just been amazing to like grow up alongside my father and see all the beautiful things that the industry has to offer. And I'm just very like proud to see like what my father, my family, my grandfather has accomplished, and all the beautiful things that have come along because of the industry and because of my family.
Okay. So we all know that Fuente makes some amazing cigars. I mean, I have my favorites from Fuente. Your grandfather had it. Your father has it. Jeremiah has it. But we have to ask you. I know, hey, Carlito, take it easy with the answer this kid's going to give. What's your favorite cigar, the cigar that you enjoy the most? That's a cigar that's like when you have coffee, I don't know if you drink coffee or not, you light up that cigar and you go like, wow, I'm in heaven. My dad, my grandfather just made my day. Can we know what cigar that is?
It's actually, it sounds like a simple question, but I'd say it's quite a tough question because there's so many wonderful cigars. And I'd say like I have many different cigars that I love.
Oh, I need it.
It's difficult to pick
Questions are
one
here.
cigar. I mean, like, let's say it mostly depends on the mood. If it may be on an afternoon sitting in with my dad having a talk, I pick a cigar. Or let's say I'm like after dinner with my family, I pick a different cigar. So it mostly depends on the mood. I say like many people or most people, if all, like have different cigars for different moods. So it's very difficult to pick one single cigar out of so many amazing cigars.
I can vouch for that. He's telling the truth. He's pulled me into places that I'm not supposed to speak of. And sometimes when Carlos is in a certain mood, he smokes one cigar. And when he's with other type of friends, or we're sitting by the lake, or we're just relaxing on a bench, he's pulling out something else and he feels like something else. Carlos, I attest to what you've just said.
Okay, Carlos, I don't want to put you on the spot, and this was not even on the things we are going to ask you. I'm going to put it to you this way. You're stranded in an island for a month, and you can only have one cigar. What will it be?
That's the wording is quite tough there. So one cigar.
Yep.
That's tough. That's tough. Well, if I'm stranded in an island, then I guess looking at the mood, I mean, I'd love to be in an island right now because, well, I'm in an island in the Dominican Republic, but let's say stranded in an island, one cigar. I mean, the Don Carlos. Don Carlos.
Yes, 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 yes.
Is it
Let me
with your grandfather's cigar?
Let me say it's because due to the mood. So for each mood, a different cigar. In a stranded island, I'd say the Don Carlos.
Okay, you have my utmost respect.
Wait,
We
Jose,
Yeah.
hold on a second. The stranded island, it's a Don Carlos. Fine, fair enough. But what about the Formula One race in Monte Carlo?
Okay, Formula One race, Monte Carlo. I mean,
And I know you've been there.
you think Monte Carlo, and you think Formula One, of course. You think Ferrari, and what do you think when you think about a Ferrari? Red, powerful. What do you think?
Opus.
Is the cigar for that specific mood?
That's amazing. And the cigar screams. "Roar!" It goes up in the revs like the Ferrari F1, doesn't it? All right. And what about when you're on that beach in Mykonos, partying with your friends, and I won't mention all the rest.
Mm-hmm.
What cigar is there?
Well, I mean, Mykonos, when you think about Mykonos, you think about luxury, like similar to Monte Carlo. So I'd probably pick an Opus as well. Maybe an Opus blue to fit the colors of Mykonos.
Amazing.
Hey, why? I just know why I'm never invited to these parties.
Hey, you want me at 2-0 for this?
Probably.
Carlos, we know the close relationship that you had with your grandfather, which I had the pleasure to know and enjoy his company and pick his pockets sometimes on that Don Carlos Reserva. What is the fondest memory that you have of Don Carlos?
Well, the fondest memory. This one for me is a tough one because for me, every moment with my grandfather was a beautiful moment. And like every memory I have of him is just beautiful. But I'd have to say, like there are many times I've been with my grandfather. I've seen him in the factory. I've seen him like being with my family. All those moments are beautiful. But the moment I have the fondest memory of is just honestly is having being sat beside him and listening to him talk, because every word that came from my grandfather was words of wisdom, words of love, and overall just beautiful. So I'd say the fondest memory of my grandfather, which is a bit broad, but truly to me is the fondest, is just listening to him talk, whether it was in the factory, speaking with my father about, let's say, stories, or maybe just work related things, the simplest things. It was just beautiful for me, and i I love to hear my grandfather speak, because every time he spoke, I felt the love he has for the people and the industry, and to me, that's just the most beautiful memory I have.
Well, I gotta tell you, there's so many messages coming in, Carlos. You know, people from everywhere in the world are writing here and welcoming you to the show, and sharing their appreciation for you to be on today. You have a big hello from George Brightman. You got a big hello from Berta. Oh my God, there's just so many people. It just goes on and on. Your aunt Cynthia, your auntie Cynthia. Welcome, Carlos. We love you very much. I'm so excited for you to be on the show today. We're making today Fuente Friday extra, extra special. You're an angel in our family, and God bless you always, your auntie. And Fabien, you know Fabien Carlo, your old friend from Brussels. Good to see you. He has a question for you, actually. He says, where do you actually smoke Magna Mars? Where do you, he didn't say where do you smoke Magna Mars. He said, where do you put Magna Mars? But in French, that means where do you smoke Magna Mars? What kind of mood you got to be you'll answer that later. Valerie Bradshaw from, I hope
Canada.
I don't mispronounce this. Saskatchewan, Canada.
Canada.
Yeah. Faraz Nasser from Dubai. Hey, Carlos, we love you, dear. I'm glad to see you. Great and safe. Looking forward to see you on next year. Uncle Faraz. Oh my God, it just goes on and on and on. So, Carlos, you got people on this every single point of the planet sending their love and their respect, and so happy to see you on the show today. And this is just bad news for you, because all it means is you're gonna have to do this more and more often.
I will. No, I'm so happy to be here and so excited, and I'm just like really excited to like share like my stories, my thoughts, and I'm happy to do it with you all. So I'm very happy to be here.
Beautiful. Your sisters are on here. I see Liana here. I see Liana here, and we'll get to them a bit later. But in the meantime, let's get back to the professor.
Carlos, I know sometimes it's, how would you say, it's kind of hard, you know, when you're the son of a celebrity, when you're the son of a famous cigar maker. And I know how kids are. So all those friends that you have, the ones that smoke, which is the cigar they ask the most for?
They ask the most for.
Yeah. Of all the cigars you guys make, the company makes, which is the cigar that your best friend or a friend of a friend or a friend of a friend of that friend says, oh, that's Carlos Fuente's son. Can he get us some cigars? Which is the cigar they ask the most for?
Okay. So like now, like before, when I was a bit younger, I didn't see many of my friends smoking cigars, or like very young people in general. But like now, as I've gotten a bit older, now I'm in college, and I have many friends in college, and even my friends here in the Dominican Republic, they've grown an interest for cigars, and many of them now have passion for cigars. But like it depends on the friend, really. Each, like I say, like each person has a different cigar for a different mood, or maybe just a cigar they like, one friend likes a lot and another one likes another cigar. So let's say, for example, I have a friend who is very like calm, and he doesn't speak a lot. So like he's kind of shy, and he goes for a Don Carlos. He loves Don Carlos. But I have another friend who's like loves to talk to people, like let's say very loud, just
Medio
has,
loco.
yeah, medio loco. And you know, he has like a powerful presence, and he goes for opus. He loves opus, and I mean, it depends on the friend, but I have friends that like love our cigars, and like I love enjoying sitting down with my friends and smoking a cigar. I love smoking different cigars with my friends. So let's say one day I smoke a Don Carlos, one day I smoke a Magnum R. So I always like to have different cigars in different occasions, and my friends do as well. So I wouldn't say there's like some friends like specific cigars, and they have their go-to cigars, but in general, like people just love, like my friends love trying different cigars, and it's just about the moment and living the moment.
Well, that's what a cigar is all about. I think I agree with you. You know what I'm interested in? I'm interested in listening to your dad and understanding what the first cigar experience was with him was like. Maybe you can start, Carlos. Tell me what the first experience with your dad was, and then we can hear your dad speak about it as well. That exchange, that magical moment when the two of you lit up the cigar, looked at each other in the eye, and understood that, you know, this is part of your life. It's part of who you are. It's part of your DNA. And when you execute that first moment in time with him, when you exchange that first torch with him, you know, when that connection is made for the very, very first time, you know, I would almost say it's like in the old days, you got married and then you take your wife and you bring her to bed for the first time. You know, that moment in itself, that must have been a very powerful moment. I'd love to hear a little bit about it.
Okay, so we're talking about years and years ago. So I mean, I've been in like the factory, the industry ever since I was a baby, and I have many memories alongside my father about enjoying a cigar or learning about cigars. So we're going way back here. But like I'd say the first time my father spoke about cigars to me, I was just born. So we're talking about way back. But I have a memory of going to the factory to learn how to roll cigars. And that day, I remember my father was beside me the whole time, and he explained to me like what the components are in making a cigar, how to roll a cigar, and then for the first time I remember that I have memory of, my father and I lit a cigar, and I had my first cigar, and it was just a beautiful moment. And this was, I'm talking years and years ago. So, and I have many memories like this. It's not one only memory, but this is what I remember of just that day being with my father, learning about cigars, lighting maybe my first cigar even, and just sharing that beautiful moment with my father.
It's beautiful. And now we've seen it through your eyes. Let's see it through Carlito's eyes, through your daddy's eyes.
Well, I do remember that moment, but I do want to say that, you know, it's not that my son smoked the whole cigar. He took a couple of puffs, and my intention was that he would never want to smoke another cigar again. But
It didn't happen.
No, but his first cigar he would not remember. But I still remember because he was a toddler. I mean, he might have been 1 year old or something. He was in my arms. And we were in the farm, Chateau de la Fuente, in the gazebo. And I remember one of my best friends, Tony Cattengill, was here. And my son, I remember I had my white guayabera, and I had cigars in my pocket. And they didn't have cellophane. I had them in my pocket. I was going to smoke it. My son's there. He grabs the cigar and he puts it in his mouth and chewed on it. And Tony still has that cigar saved, waiting for one day to frame it or give it to my son, but it's all chewed up and everything. And he put it in his mouth, and I just couldn't believe it. I go, oh man, I better hide my cigars. And he was, you know, I don't know if he was a year or 11 months. He was in my arms, and he just took it out of my pocket and put it in his mouth and chewed on it, chopped on it. And I said, man, you know, there's something that he's got it in his genes, his DNA, and his blood. So that was his probably first cigar, even though it wasn't lit.
Well,
I'll never forget that moment as long as I live.
Priceless. Carlos, how, let's say you're having a cigar, how do you like coffee a lot? What does, you know, you're pairing up a cigar with coffee, because your Cuban heritage, we love Dominicans, Cubans, we love our coffee. So can you tell us about what, do you like an espresso, a latte, a cappuccino? I don't know, un cortadito. What do you like, coffee and cigars? What's your feelings on that?
what do you call the cigar where you put scotch in it?
No, I'm actually not a big coffee drinker, but when I do, I like my coffee black, you know? So
No sugar?
some sugar, but not a lot of sugar.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not a heavy coffee drinker, but when I do, and when I enjoy a cigar alongside a coffee, um, you know, I go for a black coffee. So because it's just a great pairing, black coffee and a good cigar.
You know, it's funny that I'm an old man and I still can't drink straight coffee unless there's someplace I go, there's no coffee. But it's funny how you can handle it. Still at my age, I've cut down on the sugar, but it still needs a little bit of sugar. So you're on the right track. Let me ask you something. What's the thing you admire the most about your father?
So the thing I admire the most about my father is how passionate he is for the industry and how hard he has worked. I mean, ever since I was a baby, I always ask like, wow, my father travels so much. That must be so cool. But I just saw it as my father travels a lot. I never gave more thought into that, or that my father always has something. He's always in an event or whatever it was. But I never gave much thought to that. Now that I'm older, like I can see like why that was, and it's not always like fun and parties. Like there's a lot of things that go behind the traveling and the work and the events. It's the passion he has and how hardworking and dedicated he is for what he loves, which is cigars.
You, in a couple of years, will have a role in the company. So we don't know what it's going to be. But I'm asking you, are you more into the growing, the blending, the manufacturing, the sales, or the marketing of the company? What do you see yourself more, let's say in the beginning, that you could identify more with?
So this is actually a difficult question because the like all things, these are all components of making something beautiful. So it's like an orchestra. You can have like you have all these different instruments, and without a certain like component of the orchestra, like the orchestra doesn't work. And it's the same for cigars. Like I have passion for each aspect of this, and I will be a part of all these aspects because this is what I love. It's a process, and I love the process. I love each and every component, each and every part of the process. Without a component of the process, it doesn't work. Things don't work out. So like for me, what's beautiful is the process, and like each and every step is there's thousands of steps, and it's just beautiful. Like the process of where the cigar starts and that where that process ends. It's such a long process, and each and every part of that process is beautiful. And this is what I fell in love with.
Sounds to me that you were born to be a conductor. You know, a conductor in an orchestra, it's the guys that make all the instruments dance together. That's what it sounds to me.
Carlos, let me tell you something. You gave an excellent response because I've interviewed a lot of people, and a lot of people say, well, you know, I like the farming, I like the marketing, I like the sales, I like this. But you made a great analogy of what it is, because to really be successful at something, you really have to know all the aspects. It doesn't mean you have to know it 100%, but at least you have to be up at least 85, 90% of the farming, of the marketing, of the sales, of the buying of the tobacco, of the public relations, of the image of the company. All those things are important. So your thought process on that is absolutely correct. And you in time, and I know your father can talk a little bit about it, will guide you to what he thinks the way his father taught him, even though because of social media and different things today. But at the end of the day, it's all about the tradition, the family, the values, the quality, to do the things the right way. And it's the Fuente way of doing it for 108 years. And I know it will continue for many years. So I would like to hear some thoughts of Carlito about this, because I got to tell you something. It was a great answer, and I'm not saying this to make you feel good because it came out of you. So it's very important that you understand the importance of every step in the company. Because sometimes some kids go into the family business, I just want to handle finances, or I want to handle promotions, or I want to handle sales. You have a very clear view of what has to be done in the company.
Carlito? That's absolutely. Which Carlito? Which Carlito?
El Papo del Humo.
Yeah, now there's going to be a future Papo del Humo, but
Papito.
I'm ready to hang my gloves up yet. But you're absolutely right, Jose. It's very complex, and to really be able to have intelligent conversations with consumers and all the aspects of the industry, you have to know from the bottom up every step. I mean, you have to have experience, like you say. You have to understanding of what everything is from the seed to the finished cigar, and it's something that it takes a long time, but it's not rocket science. It's something, if you love it, it's absorbed quickly. And my son has the fortune to have people that could pass on this information that we picked up over generations. And, I have no doubt he has it in his blood. He loves it. I've seen him in front of people, and how, right? Maybe in front of me, he's a little bit more quiet because he knows I'm listening, but I'm so proud of him. And all the information and everything that's gone back to me when I'm not around is that, his heart, his soul and everything is in the cigars. And it's just incredible how much he's already been able to pick up and how much he's learned and his understanding of cigars. And that answer that he gave is absolutely true. To really be able to guide a company or to make decision, you have to have an understanding of the tobacco. You have to have an understanding of the consumer. And you have to have an understanding of the thousands of people that work side by side with you. That's something that's a key element that people overlook, that when it involves human beings, it's like a sports team or something. People, I saw the video of my son or the documentary of Michael Jordan about teams and things like that. And cigar making is the same thing. But you have a lot of people. And if there's a missing link in that team, things don't come out as well. So you have to also be someone that understands human beings, understands people. Because when you think about all the different steps in making a great cigar, how many people are involved, it takes a certain personality that you have to love people. You have to love being with people, because it's all about people, from the tobacco, from the growing aspect, all the way to the enjoyment of the cigars. And my son is that kind of person that, I see him as a person that listens and he speaks very little, but I was the same way. And I listened, I spoke very little. And it's hard to believe now, but with time, he will evolve and he'll be doing all the speaking. But I know that to me, even though at my age, it's still, to me, is very, very difficult to be the son of Don Carlos. You know, and I know we have different ways, but I have all, you know, his teachings and everything. And I try to adhere to everything he's taught me. I try. And it's just that, you know, such a great man like that with such a reputation, it seems difficult for us, but it's not, because all those little things that we learn from, that my sons learned from my father, what he's learned from me, well, he'll continue to learn from me and the rest of our team, from you and Jeremiah and everybody. He's been with me to check all the Cameroon tobacco several times, been with Jeremiah, do inspections, and, you know, and all that will accumulate and everything, that when he finishes the universities and the studies, his formal studies and everything, he'll be ready. He won't walk in. He'll jump in and he'll end up running without any problem.
Well, it's, what I say, it's really breathtaking to hear someone at his age, 19 years old, I mean, already with his feet on the ground, with a vision of what it should be. And I mean, he has a lot of memories of his grandfather and of course of you, Carlito, and you guys have always done there's only one way the Fuentes have done the thing, and it's the right way, and it's something that I admire. Carlos, the foundation is very important for your father and for the Newmans. Without a doubt, everybody knows in Dominican Republic, it is probably, without a doubt, a foundation that started with a little classroom, has graduated entrepreneurs, lawyers, doctors, brought a community that was make Hell's Kitchen look like a teddy bear into something really that'll be there for many, many, many years. What are your thoughts on the foundation, and how do you feel about the efforts that your father started, of course, with the help of the Newmans and thousands of consumers that do every year Toast of America, the events that your father have done where they've raised $200,000, $300,000, $500,000, not taking a nickel and putting that back into this very poor community that has prospered a lot, and it's probably a foundation that has been looked at from a lot of countries as to implement, and they've asked your father and the Newmans, how the hell did you guys do it? What are your thoughts on the foundation?
To me, the foundation is one of the most beautiful things that we have created. Not cigars, but the act of being able to give back, to me, is just beautiful. And my father always told me, and my grandfather always told me, that the most beautiful gift in life is being able to give back. And this is what we see with the foundation, with the Newmans, with my father. It's just beautiful, and it's something I'm very, very, very proud of. And it's something that will continue for many, many years, because to me, it's the most beautiful thing we have created, other than cigars, of course. But it's something I'm very proud of. I'm very proud of my family and the Newmans for being able to create something so beautiful, something that started from out of nothing and now is so big and has helped so many people like have a different life. It's a beautiful gift, and it's something I'm very proud of.
Jeremiah, I think we have some questions for Carlos.
We do, but
can
before
go through that?
before we go there, I want to throw a curveball at him, but a nice one. And we can't talk about Carlos without speaking about his beautiful, beautiful family, and all the women in his life, because Carlos was blessed to be surrounded by women his entire life. And I'm not talking about all the fans and the girlfriends at the university running after him and going crazy when he walks down into the, I'm talking about his gorgeous sisters, his intelligent sisters, his beautiful mother, his aunt, all the women in his life, you know, Liana, Lidiana, Sophia, Rosie, Cynthia. And, you know, the influence of all these intelligent and beautiful ladies that have rubbed off on Carlos. It's no surprise he's become such a sensitive, emotionally powerful young man that's growing into a very, very strong and smart personality. And I think that's going to be the founding blocks of, you know, his future, is having harnessed that power of both his grandfather, his father, and then his sisters, his mother, his aunt, and making him so complete and such a holistic figure, so to speak, that you know, I'm just dreading the force that's going to be exerted into the future. I wanted to hear a few what you thought about this, Carlos.
No, definitely. So, I mean, I grew up with my mom, of course, my two sisters, and of course with Liana, and I've learned so many things, and I'm the person I am because of these beautiful women, and my aunt as well, many people, but specifically my mom. I wouldn't be the person I am without my mom, and she's the one who has, other than my dad, she's the one who has guided me to become the person I have become, and I wouldn't be here if it weren't for the guidance of my mother. And of course, I've also learned many things from my sisters who are older than I am, and I've gained a lot of knowledge, and I've learned because of them. And also, like, it's not only learning, but them being there for me is something beautiful. And I know that as I will for them, they'll always be here for me, and it's gonna be something that's gonna be that way forever, because this is a family business.
No.
This is a family business, and I plan to have my family with me for forever. And it's not only outside of the industry, but also in the industry. I want to have them by my side always, because as I said, I am the person I am because of them. And I want to keep learning from them. I want to have them by my side always. Also, I've learned many things from my aunt, Cynthia, and from my cousins as well. I'm surrounded by many beautiful women, and I've learned many different things from each one of them, different things. I've seen Liana, how she works so hard, and how she works so hard, and she has talked to me about many things. She's always been there as my sister, and I've learned many things, and I can't wait to be in the company with her. Also, my two sisters, Sophia and Lidiana, that they have always given me guidance, and they have always been there for me to help me with whatever it is I'm dealing with, or just being there because they're my sisters, and you can tell like how much I love my sisters and how much I appreciate them being with me. And as they are for me, I will always be there for them. And that's pretty much it. I'm so happy to have all these beautiful women in my life, because first, I'm the person I am because of them, and second, the love I have for them is something I can't explain. It's something beautiful.
Yeah. Well said. It's beautiful. It's very true. So we got some beautiful questions that come in, Carlos. One of them is from our friend Faraz, who we salute. We hope you're well and safe in Dubai, Mr. Nasser. And Faraz is asking you, he says, Carlos, tell us about your experience and feelings attending the IPCPR, whatever it's called. It could change its names every 15 years. Tell us your experience at this show, next to your father, next to your aunts, and to your sisters. talking to the Fuente lovers that are visiting the booth. How do you feel? What does it make you feel? How does that make you vibe?
Yeah. So ever since I was a baby, it's something that I've always looked forward to. Like, to me, going to IPCPR was something I look forward to the most. To me, it was like going to Disney. I love going to IPCPR because there, like, everyone got together and I got to speak to so many different people. Obviously, I got to see you so much, which was amazing. Many of the memories I have with you is from being in the IPCPR, and
We're talking about the show, not Vegas, buddy.
but to me, like, the IPCPR is so beautiful because everyone gets together and I have the opportunity to talk to so many people, learn from so many people, because here I learn from my dad, but when I'm outside of here, I also learn from so many people, and I hear so many stories, and just being with people is something I love, and learning from people and talking to people is something I love. I mean, I don't even remember the first time I went to IPCPR because it's been so many years. I mean, I've been going there since I was a baby. I remember, of course, I wasn't allowed to go in before before I was 18 because of the age restriction, of course. But I would always stand outside and try to, like, peek in to see, like, and then when people, like, came out, I was like, how was it? Like, what is in there? Like, it's something I dreamt of, always going in there, and like I would always speak to people as they came out, and like it was a dream for me. I wanted to go in. I wanted to go in. I wanted to go in. I wanted to see what was inside. And when I finally turned 18, to me it was so beautiful. I got to finally see what the IPCPR was, and like the aspects, the components of it. And to me, it's just beautiful, and it's something I love. I love being there. I love being with people, and it's just something that I truly am fond of. It's just being with people and like learning and spending time, because as my father always says, you know what I'm gonna say, it's not about cigars, it's about the people, and it's something that I wholeheartedly believe and I have seen throughout the years. This being an example, the IPCPR, it's something beautiful and something I'm very fond of. Being able to spend time with people, learn, and gain experience through this.
Well, I
Hey,
think
Carlito, it didn't hurt much having an uncle like Tony Cattengill that will sneak you in. The worst thing is my son at the age of 16 already had a mustache and started at the long sideburns and everything. So he would get dressed up, very, very proper with his suit and tie and everything. And one day I see somebody walking in and I look at the tag and it says Tony Cattengill. And I said, what are you doing in here, young man? He goes, I snuck in, Dad. I said, just stay behind me and don't peek out too much. I don't want security to pull you out. It'd be embarrassing in front of everyone. But when you're determined and you love something as much as he does, you find a way. And like we all did. And he's been there. My son has been there. He's gone to all. He's been around all the great cigar makers sociably and the dinners at night, with the Levin family, Levin, and, every night, and all the retailers. Been going to TAA, which is another tobacco association, since he was a young man. Since he was born, it's just like his sisters. It was a dinner table with tobacco growers and everything, and the conversation, Juan Sosa, and just everybody. Jeremiah's father, which is my son's godfather, just at the house and talking about cigars, and him being around and listening to the conversations and the struggles and the challenges and things we're always facing, And he's heard the story. He knows that many times, it's part of growing up, I guess. I saw my father too, sitting in the sofa or in his lounge chair and thinking deeply and just very quiet and everything. And he's very worried. And my son has seen me like that many, many times very worried. He saw my reactions and everything when I wake up early in the morning and I see this cloud of smoke and I look down and I get a phone call and it's the warehouse is burning, the hurricanes and all the stuff that, when the farm was completely destroyed. I mean, he's been through all that. So, those are things that I went through also with my father. There's always the good times when you're celebrating, but I saw him also when things were serious and problem and everything. And the most important thing that I learned from my father, just never give up. Just keep going and keep going, keep going. And I think that that's something that you don't learn in books and you don't learn in school. It's something that you're around and you feel an obligation to the people you love that surround you. And when I refer to the people I love, it's like my son just said, I just want to confirm what he just said. It's not only the direct family, it's not just your best friends, it's the people in the industry, the people who have been around you all your life. And they become your family. And, that's something that is priceless. And I'm so proud that my son snuck in there, and happy he did, and he's met so many people in this industry and everything. And those are memories he'll have for the rest of his life, just like I have. And it'll just nourish him and give him the strength to keep moving forward.
This is getting emotional. This is when everybody starts having the goosebumps and we start losing the thread on how we're going to ask the questions. All right.
Carlos, what are your thoughts about the future of the company and, of course, the future of our industry?
Okay, so first of all, I want to say that the future is big and it's gonna be so big because of what's coming, what we're looking forward to, the new generation coming in. I mean, when I think about the future, the first thing that comes to my mind is family. This is a family business, of course, and now we're having like new members of our family coming into the business, and it's something new, something different, and it's something big. So like for me, the future is, of course, always being alongside my father. I'm always going to be learning. My father always says that every day he learns something new. Every day there's something different that comes up, there's always something new that he learns. But for me, the first thing that comes to my mind, family, and it's next generation. So what I picture when I see the future is being alongside my family within the industry. So being my sisters being next to me, being next to my father. So I want always to have my family close because to me the most important thing is family. And the future is going to be big because of family. And that's something exciting. I mean, there's not many family businesses left in the world. I mean, like it's always about just making it big, making money. But for in this industry, like it's specifically this because there are not many families left like that's only family. And this is something that I picture when I see the future, is always keeping my family close and always learning from my family. And it's something that I see when I see the future.
Without a doubt, your family means a lot. I mean, that is something I think that you've learned from your grandfather, from your father. And it was nice to hear something you said that I've heard from Carlito for many, many years. It's not about cigars. It's not about the money. It's all about people. There's no such thing for a company to be successful. Companies are successful because of the people they have, the values, the tradition, the vision, the mission, and just being honest, good people. I think that Jeremiah might have one or two last questions for Carlos.
One or two. I got about 100 questions left, but the problem is we're running out of time. But let's try to shoot through some of them quickly because the audience is throwing so many questions at Carlos. let's try to get through a few. Carlos, Rich is asking, Rich Myberg, which we're going to pull on the show a bit later because he's replaced Benoit. He's a funny guy. All right, Carlos, do you play any musical instruments? Your dad plays the piano. Your sister Liana, she dances. Your brother-in-law Manny plays the congas, and of course, your uncle Arturo plays the trumpet. Are you into music?
Absolutely. I love music. I mean, I go to sleep with music. I wake up with music. All through the day, I'm listening to music. I mean, absolutely, I love music. Actually, I don't play musical instruments. When I was little, I tried learning the guitar, but eventually I stopped. But actually, believe it or not, now with quarantine, like you get bored, of course, and this has been an opportunity to learn many things, different things. I mean, I've started learning how to cook, but speaking about music, I started learning to play the piano.
Hey, good news! It's in the DNA.
Not very good at it yet, but the time that I have spent here has given me the opportunity to learn this something different, and I'm little by little I'm learning some things, new things, and that's, I mean, I love the piano. I know my father does too, but this is something that I wish to like keep going, keep pursuing, because to me the piano is the most beautiful instrument there is.
Amen. All right, we got another question that came in from a very old friend, which your father knows as well. Alexis Azam from Switzerland. He says, "Dear all, I know everybody." He says, "I'm a father of a 9-year-old son. I really want him to be a real person. Hope in the tobacco business." And he's a retailer. He says, "I'm a retailer." He says, "Tell me, Jeremiah and Carlito, what are the words and the following of a young man to be said?" So what would you tell a young man? What would you tell your 9-year-old son? And I'm going to let Carlito answer this question because his son's on the show. Carlito, what do you tell a young man to follow in his who wants to, or who may want to follow in his father's footsteps? What advice would you tell a young man?
Well, I'm gonna give the same advice that I learned from my father, and that I tell my son every single time I have an opportunity. First of all, and is young, bless his son. You see his father that he enjoys. That's the best at what he does. He's great, and sees the passion and the people that is surrounded by, and the people that admire him, respect him. And that's something that you go picking up. That's that essence of that love for people and so forth. But
I think we're having some trouble with the connection. Carlito, can you hear us? I think Carlito lost the connection there. Anyways, I don't know if... What's that, Melanie?
I said he needs to put more money in the machine.
Yeah, it's time to top up on the card there. All right. But I think we heard some of what he said, and I'll give you my answer as well. I actually have a son who's just about the age of your son. Ah, there's Carlito. All right, Carlito, we can hear you. Go ahead. Carlito. Okay. All right. So I think it's important, and Alexis, I've known you for years, and we've been friends and we've been partners for as long as I can remember. And you know me very well, and I think that the honest answer would be to just to tell them to follow their heart, whatever it may be. Follow their heart, do what makes them happy and what makes them proud. And normally the apple doesn't fall far from the tree. And we all know that. My father used to say it all the time. And I have no doubt that your son's going to want to make you very proud, follow in your footsteps. And just do what he loves, do what makes him feel good. And I think Carlito would would probably give exactly the same advice. I don't know if Carlito can hear us.
Jeremiah, I'm back. I'm sorry, I was just completely disconnected. I apologize to Alexis. Alexis, I was going to say that, you know, I learned from example. Hopefully my son has learned from some good examples from me. But I think that we imitate the people that we love and that we see that are happy. And obviously you're very happy and you're very good at what you do and you spread that love. And I think your son would absorb that. But most importantly, what I always told my son and my father always told me was whatever you do in life, the most important thing is for you to find your passion and your happiness, to be happy. And if being in the business with your father is what really makes you happy, then strive for it and be the very, very best that you can at whatever you do. No matter what career you choose, you try to be the best and you give it your best. But my advice is always encourage your son to do what comes out from his heart and to be happy. And that's what I tell my son, I tell my children. The most important thing to any parent is for the children to be happy.
Amen. Absolutely. We don't have a lot of time for a lot of questions, but there's one question here which I do want to address because I think it's a kick-ass question. I love the question. I think whoever asked it has a lot of balls, and I respect that. It's a question that came in from Carlino, and it says, in your opinion, what is the next big innovation or disruption that will make waves in the cigar industry? And this is a good question. Maybe I'm going to ask Carlito first, and then we'll go to Carlos, and then maybe I'll answer as well. Go ahead, Carlito.
This me, Carlito?
Yeah, that's you. Until you accept to change it over to Don Carlos, I'm calling you Carlito.
Okay. No, because I call my son Carlito. So
I know.
and my father was Carlito too. Everyone who knew him in Tampa and growing up. But I see the cigar industry. It's changing so much, and especially through social media. Opportunities like this to be able to reach out and communicate with people around the world. When my grandfather was, growing up in the business, not growing up, but when he was young in the business, it was a business of neighborhoods, communities. And then my father's time, started growing to different states. And in my era, we're going internationally. And what I see, the most exciting thing is any family business in the cigar industry, which are becoming very, very rare. They're going to have opportunities to meet people all around the world, to build relationships, to love. It's such a special commodity or luxury, to enjoy a cigar like the fine wine or a good whiskey or a luxury watch, or to have conversations and everything about this. And there's very few people left in family businesses. I see my son, my children, being someone that could spread that love to many, many, and much more people than I've been able to do. I think he's going to have that opportunity. I think that technology is going to come in through communication. That's going to help a lot. And it's going to, it's going to become so rare that it's going to be like a jewel, finding a diamond in the middle of the desert. It's going to be so rare, these family business and the tradition. And just the excitement that he could be the one to celebrate 125 years of the family business. Like you have, Jeremiah, and I remember when we were there together and we celebrated, he's going to have that excitement and that accomplishment. And I think that it's wonderful things, the relationships. We have Ferris and Alexis, from Switzerland, Ferris from Dubai, it's just so heartwarming when you hear Uncle Ferris. And I know that my son will be friends with Joey, and the same, that's, to me, that's going to be a big explosion, because you're going to have these young generation that are going to be much better than my generation. And it's something that they're going to have their own ideas. but yet they're gonna hear, I believe, and they're gonna be truthful and faithful to the traditions and everything continue, but to continue to improve what we leave them.
Professor?
Carlos.
Yes.
Carlos is gonna follow up on that. Remember you asked him?
Mhm. So for this question, technology is ongoing, and with time always comes innovation. So of course, as time goes on, new things will always come. It's difficult to say what exactly, but I can definitely say that the industry is gonna be completely different in a few years. There's gonna be so many new things, new people. With technology, it's gonna be easier to connect with people. It's gonna be easier to like make the industry smaller but bigger. If you get what I'm saying, it's gonna be smaller in the sense that we're gonna be able to connect with everyone, but it's gonna be so much bigger because there's gonna be new people, and I think technology is ongoing, and because of this, there's gonna be a lot of new innovation that's gonna come with years.
Yeah.
Well,
Not much more to add to all of that, but I do agree. I mean, my first reaction, without looking at the technology aspect, was what Carlito mentioned earlier on, which is the families, and this is going to be the irony, and this is going to be the irony is the right word. The disruption in the industry, and Carlito said it is going to be family business. It sounds almost paradox, but there's just none left, close to none left, and it's going to become so absurd that the few ones left that are there are going to be the disturbers. They're going to be the ones that are sticking the nails up everybody else's foot and down everybody's backs, and they're going to make a difference. And when you have companies that are able to make a difference, the consumers obviously, that's going to make the noise. It's like the ones. It's like in a Brave New World, and you have the few revolutionaries that are just trying to make sure that the human race can still breathe oxygen and still eat food which is grown in soil which is provided by Mother Nature, and this is precisely the danger where a lot of industries are going, including the cigar industry, and which the Fuente family, whether it's Liana or Lidiana or Sofia or Carlito, that's their mission. This is the mission that they have. Their mission is to make sure that they are going to be the last man standing in order to preserve the truth, in order to keep that flame going, because that's what got their family in the business in 1912 to start with. This is what their entire lives, their fathers, their grandfathers, their aunts has taught them. And this is what you cannot rip away from a family business. You can rip it away from anybody else, but you're going to have a hard time ripping it away when it's in your DNA, and which is the constituting values of the foundations of who you are. And after listening to Carlos III today, we come to that conclusion. There is a future, and there's a very, very bright future for the Fuente family and for the Fuente companies. Because it's like a bulldozer, it's like a typhoon coming in the horizon. Nothing's gonna stop. Nothing's gonna get weaker. That flame is still there. That sense of responsibility has been injected into the next generation in the same way as Don Carlos injected it into Carlito. That makes me happy.
No, and I'm very happy also because, we've had the privilege to have such special guests, so many special guests on the program, Meet the Professor. And I see other families as well with those same values in the business. We're very few, but my son won't be alone because he'll be able to share the same values with other families who we've had as guests on the show that are continuing the tradition, who have the passion. And, you know, it's a rare neighborhood, and it's a neighborhood that everybody, I see the next generation coming in, and all the young blood in the industry that's followed their father and grandfather's footsteps. I see that they're going to be one very close community, which I think that really is a blessing, and it's going to be something very special because no one could do anything alone. And it's going to be one big family of family businesses in the cigar industry that are going to make a huge difference for the future. And my son's going to have a lot of colleagues that are very passionate also. And that gives me that much more encouragement and gives me relief to see the younger generation coming into the business for the different families in the cigar industry.
And that's very true. And they have a responsibility to stick tight, to keep their to keep their shoulders side by side, and to make sure that they that their values and their visions remain the same, so that they can keep everything going. Carlos, we have a tradition on the show. It's called Melanie's Hotspot. Sometimes it's a bit uncomfortable, but it doesn't matter. Melanie.
Hello. All right, so Carlos, you're gonna ask you a question. What is your most embarrassing moment in your cigar career?
Okay. So actually, as we were talking about the IPCPR, you know, IPCPR like gets so many people every year, and so many people go, and of course, once everyone starts leaving, it's insane how many people like are all together. And there's in Las Vegas where the previous IPCPR was host, there's a long hallway that leads to the event center. And like once everyone was leaving, like to me this was so embarrassing. What happened was that I was leaving and there was so many people and I tripped over, and of course I fell and everyone saw me. I just acted as if it never happened. I kept walking as fast as I could. But of course, I think we can all agree that falling over in front of people is quite embarrassing.
We've done it. We've all done it, I'm sure. How old were you?
Last year. So yeah, I have to say that was pretty embarrassing.
Oh, well, I'm glad you're okay.
All right. Thank you very much, Melanie. Rich, you're up, brother. For Rich, what is it? Rich is baked. Come on, Rich.
Alrighty. I don't know if you can turn my camera on. I'm holding a cigar.
Hold on a second. Let me get you on there. 1 second.
Okay.
I got to figure this out.
I knew that cigar was going to come out, Rich. I knew that cigar was going to come out.
Hold on, Rich. I got to take you off and pull you back in. Give me a second.
Okay.
Oh, no, that's not how it works. Hold on. One second. All right.
You have a camera on, Rich?
No, this is not the right one. Hold on.
You have your camera on?
Where's Rich? Here we go. Okay.
Are you dressed, Rich?
That's going to be the joke, Carlito. Okay, Rich, you're unmuted and you need to turn your camera on.
Well, I thought it was on, so we'll have to wing without that. I'll start my video. Let's see.
There you go. How you doing, Rich?
I'm todo bien. I don't know if you can read this on the cigar. Carlos Arturo III, November 18, 2001.
Oh, wow.
Brenda and I were blessed to be given each one of these. And one of them I gave to Carlos's dad a couple of years ago to hold for his 21st birthday. And every year I get ready to smoke that wonderful cigar, and Tia Cynthia or Liana or somebody says, no, wait, hold off. So I haven't smoked it yet, but I'm looking forward to it.
Wow.
And Carlos, your memory is pretty good. When we spoke at Vegetable Soup, RTDA, IPCPR, PCA last year, you said that your mom reminded you that one of the first gifts you got when you were born was that silver box with your name engraved on it from Brenda and I, and I'm very touched that you guys remember that. But it's time for Rich's Baked, whatever. And with so many people that are multilingual, with so many languages being spoken, this one is about 3 Frenchmen sitting around drinking a bottle of wine. I think it was Bordeaux from Saint-Emilion. And as they're talking about language, one of them says, you know, a lot of French expressions are misunderstood. And they said, you know, well, which one do you think is the most misunderstood? And one of them says, savoir-faire. And the guy next to him says, no, I know the meaning of savoir-faire. He says, explain it to us then. He says, a man comes home from work a little bit early. He enters his home. His wife is nowhere to be seen. He shouts her name. He hears nothing. He goes upstairs to her bedroom. He opens the door and finds his wife making love to another man. He turns around, closes the door, goes downstairs and mixes himself a drink. That, my friends, is savoir-faire. And the second one says, no, that's close, but that's not savoir-faire. As you say, a man comes home early from his office. He enters his home. He looks for his wife. She's nowhere to be found. He calls her name, no answer. He goes upstairs and finds her in bed with another man. He stops, he says, Monsieur, continuez, and turns around, closes the door, goes downstairs to make a drink. And his friend says, that's not savoir-faire. He says, what is? He says, I'll tell you. The third one says, I'll tell you what it is. He says, a man comes home early from his office. He opens the door, he walks in, he shouts for his wife, she doesn't answer. He goes upstairs, opens the door, finds her in bed with another man, says, pardon, monsieur, continuez. If that man can continue, that, my friends, is savoir-faire.
All right, Rich. Thank you very much, sir.
All right.
Okay.
Thank you, Rich. Thank you very much.
You're welcome, Carlito.
Carlos, you have had a standing ovation today. You've had a countless number of people from around the world asking you all kinds of questions, asking you intimate questions, less intimate questions. But one thing shined through everything: positivity, affection, and respect. This may very well be a strong introduction to the industry. So maybe, with your father's blessing, welcome to the industry in a much more official way. You have no idea how proud I am of who you've become and where I have no doubt you're going to be going. And before we wrap up today's show, I'd like to leave the last words to your daddy.
Thank you, Jeremiah.
No, son.
Oh my God, I'm paying attention.
Sons. Yes, no. Son, I'm so proud of you. I, 3 daughters. And then, the surprise of having this boy come into my life at a later stage of life. And I remember telling your mom, I said, oh my God, what am I going to do with my son at my age? What if he wants to play ball? I'm not going to be able to bend down and pick it up. And to see my son grown into a beautiful young man and being so responsible and so dedicated to, to being the best that he can be in every aspect. I'm so proud of you. I have no doubt that not only are you going to be a happy man, but you're going to make so many people happy around the world. Again, all I want is for you to be happy, to live a happy and long life, and to be able to enjoy and live the feeling, the deep feeling, the emotions of loving so many people around the world and knowing that you're loved by them also. And I know that you're going to dedicate yourself like you have up to now and continue to work very hard. And I have no doubt in my mind that you're going to be able to fill your grandfather's shoes, which I have never been able to, but you're much better than I am. And the world is yours.
Thank you, Dad. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And before we go, I want to also say that what an honor it has been to be a part of this show. Hopefully, you'll be seeing a lot more of me on these shows. But I just want to say it has been an honor, and I'm so happy that I was able to do this. I'm happy to have had this opportunity. And I want to thank everyone for listening to us talk and being present in this show, because truly it's something beautiful. And I just love hearing, but this time it was me talking, and I hope you all were able to learn a little bit more about me. Also, I want to say that I am thankful for being able to learn so much from my dad, and I'm so proud of who he is and what he has accomplished. And also want to thank all of my family for always being there for me. I want to thank my godfather, who has also taught me a lot of things. Ciro, he has taught me many things, and I just want to thank people that have guided me to where I am. I want to thank people, all people from all over the world, from the industry that have made me grow this passion I have for the industry, and I have learned from, and things that I have learned from them. And overall, I just want to say that I'm so happy to be where I am. And again, I say that the future is so bright, and I couldn't be more excited to be a part of the industry. And I just want to say thank you again. And Jeremiah, if you'd like to speak.
Well, that was the closing statement for the last and final show, which we are going to be hosting on Fuente Friday. Carlos Fuente III, thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, as of today, the shows will be running on Sundays. Sundays, 2 p.m. Eastern Time. That is 8 p.m. Brussels and Paris time. 7 p.m. London time. And what is that Dubai time? That must be around 11 o'clock at night, isn't it? 11 o'clock, 10 o'clock Dubai time. So we'll see you all this Sunday for the next episode of Fuente and Meerapfel present Meet the Professor. In the meantime, make sure to stay very safe. Take care of yourselves and each other. And yes, Carlito?
I just want to say thank you. I see the names of people from all over the world. Just saw 2 a.m. Remind all our friends in Asia and China. But it's just wonderful to see people. I mean, everybody. It's just, I see the names and everything. To all of you, to me, that's the greatest blessing. It is the blessing. It's the people. And to have the support of so many people to come on the show today, to listen to my son. I don't have words to express my gratitude and my love for each and every one of you. And you know who you are. I see your names coming up, and there's probably a lot of people who didn't write in that are listening also. And to me, this is the fuel that, you know, that fires the flame in my soul. Is the people. And thank you all for everything, all of you who have listened to the show today, and the names keep coming in. I see the hearts, and I'm just so grateful. We all are, that there's so many special and beautiful people in this world that care, and we love you all.
Well, it was an amazing show. So like Jeremiah said, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we'll have Aaron Sigmund, which is a character, a person that is very well known in the industry. Carlito goes way back with him, myself. So tune in on Sunday and we'll have a great time.
All right. In the meantime, take care of yourselves and of each other. Be well, stay safe, and all our love. Carlito Fuente III, be well. You take care of yourself, and see you all soon. Bye-bye for now.
Bye.
Bye-bye, everybody.
Adios.